Welcome to the Happy Humanoids Perspective, where your beliefs are challenged, thoughts provoked, and where you may find your happy place whether you like it or not.
And here are your hosts, Edith and Miles. Woohoo!
Woohoo! Welcome everyone to our show. This is episode number 52 of the Happy Humanoids Perspective. My name is Miles Keever, and I am a certified Access Consciousness facilitator, and I'm joined here by my lovely wife and companion.
Yes, Edith Paul, and I'm a certified Access Consciousness facilitator as well. Welcome everyone. Welcome to our 52nd show tonight.
Oh yeah, 52.
Yeah, tonight we talk about something that can be very subtle in a difference, and at the same time sometimes can be very different as well. It's about this emotional intensity versus this intensity of being.
Yes. Well, I had an interesting observation this week. We had picked this topic quite a few days ago, and I was just thinking about what would be good for me to talk about with what is it that I want to say with this topic. And lo and behold, Edith and I began to explore the emotional intensity and the intensity of being in our relationship. Then I said to her at one point, I said, "Hey, are we doing research for the class?" We're like, "Yeah." So
Are we exploring for the class now?
Exactly. So it's really interesting, intensity of being and emotional intensity. These things can be confusing, I guess, and also they're very distinctively different. Like the emotional intensity, we put so much emphasis in this reality on emotion and being emotional, and there's like what we tend to do as a society really is we become emotional, and for somehow that feels like we're getting something done. We're moving something, we're like creating something, we're shifting, we're creating our life if we're emotional. And that may not be the case. It may just be locked up in the emotion. So we tend to put associate emotions with being, like we exist, like emotions are like we feel alive. And so like when we have emotion there, we can associate with being alive or being, above ground or whatever, and not being just a couch potato. And there's an intensity with this emotion. There's an intensity with that. And what is it I want to say with this is like sometimes we can, now there's two different kinds of emotions I want to talk about. There's like the trauma and drama emotion, and there's also the intensity of being. And the trauma and drama is something else. It's just more like getting caught in a loop of going around and around in circles. And the intensity of being is having an awareness. So like there's this idea that when we have an emotion, like the emotion comes first, but maybe that's not exactly true. Maybe there's an awareness that comes up. There's an energy that comes up with this emotion, there's an energy that comes up. And what we may do is tag or oversight, or whatever I want to say, like put a veil over this energy and call it emotion, like put a name to it. Like it could be like anger or sadness or worry or whatever. And maybe that emotion is really blocking what it truly is. And maybe it's just an awareness that we have. And that's could be the intensity, or the intensity of awareness. Like I could say, like there's like an intensity of something that comes up. If you think about maybe if something set you off recently, or someone you saw set you off, or you're watching the debates and you got set off, or whatever that is, something was created in your world. Like you created something. There was some energy there. There was something that was shifting for you. And before attaching an emotion to it, there's an energy that's there. There's an energy that's present. And that energy could be just energy of awareness. It could just be the intensity of some awareness. So if you have a heightened state of energy, and then we want to label it as anger or frustration or whatever it is, or sadness, and what happens is that we bypass the gift that's there, like the awareness that's there for us. We go right into trying to justify why we feel this because we want to feel alive. And what if it's more about having that energy there in front of us as a gift of something that we're not choosing to have the awareness of? So what awareness are you having that you're not choosing, that if you would choose it would give you the ease and clarity that you desire? And everything that doesn't allow that, destroy and uncreate all that times a godzillion.
Yes, right and wrong and bad, Papa, all nine shorts, pros and beyonds. Yeah, I experienced this intensity of being, it was this weekend or a few days ago. And at first, when I experienced it, it's so intense. Yeah, intensity of being.
Yeah.
It's so intense. And it seems like I become an open wound. And everything is just so intense around me and all that. And my first, I'll say reaction, because I was in reaction, was to think that I was impatient, to think that I was like, and I wanted to control everything around me, or everything around me was just frustrating for me, or just, and it's just after that I realized, oh my God, this is the intensity of being, of who I truly be. So if you find yourself in that space where you have this impression that it is so intense, you are so intense, and it's not about, there's nothing in your life that can create this intensity, that can trigger this intensity. Because for me, it was that. Nothing triggered this intensity. I woke up with it in the morning. So what if it's about asking question, what would it take for me to be at ease with this intensity of being? What would it take for me to allow myself to be this intensity of being? What can this intensity of being give me? What is the gift? What is the contribution of this intensity of being? What would it take for this intensity of being to guide me?
Right.
To guide me. And by asking this question, and of course every time is about asking everything that doesn't allow that, I uncreate and destroy it all times a godzillion, right and wrong, goodbye, papa, call nine shorts, flaws and beyonds. It will help you to move forward and to allow yourself to be more of who you truly be, because this is who you be. And in this reality, being intense this way is not seen as something that is natural, is not seen as something that is like who you really be.
Right.
What if that in this, there is all this aliveness of who you truly be? How can I use this intensity to my advantage would be another question you can ask as well. What if that it is the total presence, to be totally present with yourself and to be, and does your body like this energy of intensity? I just ask my body and my body says, yeah, I like it. And this, I talk about this intensity of being, but there's the other side where this is this emotional intensity. How do we make the difference between both? Well, energetically, the emotional intensity, there will be a lot of contraction in it. There will be a lot of rigidity. There will be there's an electrical charge in it. There's an energy of restriction as well, and there's no space. There's no space in that kind of, in the emotional intensity. And we are a lot in the judgment and the intensity of being, it's more like an acoustical energy. This is a presence. There is space. There is no contraction. There could be firmness, but in this firmness, there's space. Yeah, and because when we are present, we are totally aware at the same time. We are aware, and we nobody can give or can.
Yeah, it can knock you off your rock.
Yeah.
You know, there's the certain sense of I don't want to say stability, but a certain sense of knowing who we be in this space.
Yeah. That's it. And there is this thing about, I don't know for you, but this day, a few days ago, when I was this energy of intensity, in my life and in my past life, I chose to not be alive. I chose to become like everyone else on this planet, or almost everyone else, and to function from like autopilot. So being this intensity of being is so different for me. It's like going into another universe and being in another universe. And yeah, and what if it's a gift? What if was it what I asked the universe? Yeah, this is what I asked. It's just that I used the intensity of the emotion to live it. So if you see yourself being in that space, okay, what else can I choose here? And all this intensity, everywhere you believe that to express this intensity of being, you have to go through the emotion to do this, or you use the emotion as the vehicle to express this intensity of being. Will you know and create and destroy it all times a godzillion?
Yes, right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all nice shorts, boys and beyonds. One awareness that I received when we were going through this process was earlier, a few days ago, was like there's an addiction to emotions. There's an addiction. We can have an addiction to basically anything, and it seems like we generally have an addiction. Like our drug of choice is some kind of an emotional thing, whether it's anger or sadness or worry or hate or like could be like romantic, whatever. And I realized that when Edith and I were talking that it was, for me, I was in this space of worry. And this worry was something that it was like a chemical imprinting in my body. My body, I would say, has taken it down through generations of this mimicking the DNA from my lineage. And because I seen it in my past, in other relatives that I had, there's this sense of worry about things that don't create anything. It's like this idea that this worry, that if I worry about something, that it's gonna change it. But what it does is actually just, it's imprinted in my body, and it doesn't allow me to make another possibility. And so I realized from this, asking questions about this and having this intensity of being, that I was addicted to worry. And it didn't show up. I mean, I wouldn't think of myself as really a worrier, more like a warrior, but not a worrier. But there it was, there it was about being worried about something, and recognizing that was just it's just an implant, and also, or distractor implant, and also it was an addiction that I took on or set in place or whatever. And it doesn't have to be, it doesn't have to be that. And the emotional intensity shows up that way sometimes. It's like because it's so dramatic and it's so like solid and it's real in this reality, and it's just like we can justify it. And there's all these reasons why this emotion is real in this reality, and there's so much support for it. Like we're so attracted to watching drama and trauma. Like the movies are filled with it, the books are filled with it. A great story has that in it. There's you can write a book with that laid out with those plot lines in place. And it's a good story because it's dramatic and there's a conflict and all this thing, and it's about resolving conflict. And it doesn't have to be that way. It's just asking questions and having the awareness that, oh, something else is here. So when you have that, whenever something comes up for you, whether it's worry or anger or frustration or whatever that is, if you can maybe just step back just a little bit and ask a couple of questions. You know, you can, it's like, who am I being now? Or does this belong to me, or is this someone else's? So this could very easily be an emotion that you've taken on from someone else in some previous lifetime, maybe a relative's, or in the same area. Edith and I realized that there's certain people that are around us that live in close by that we can sense that energy and that certain vibration. And we have to continue to check ourselves. Okay, is this mine or someone else's? And it's usually, well, most often it's someone else's. And what's the value of having this emotional intensity? Maybe there's not something that you're recognizing that there's a value to it. So everywhere that we're using emotional intensity as a destruction of who we truly be, and to never have what we truly would desire to have, we destroy and uncreate all that times Godzillion, please.
Yes, right and wrong, good, bad, but puck, all nine shorts, bows and beyonds. And I will continue with what you just said. It's like, in this reality, we believe so much. We identify so much with our emotion. This is who we are. Mm-hmm. I am sad, this is who I am. I am sad. Yeah. I am angry, this is who I am. I am angry.
Right, we identify ourselves as that emotion.
Yeah, because the energy is there, this is who we are. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you are more than an emotion. You are an infinite being, and an infinite being functions from knowing, perceiving, being, and knowing, and perceiving and receiving. Yeah. And emotion, this is of the low harmonic of the being. So, well, if you choose to live your life from that space of the intensity of being, you choose to live your life from the lower harmonic of this reality. Mm-hmm. Is it what you know that is possible for you? Is it what you desire? If this is what you desire, just go for it. If you desire more into your life, to receive something different into your life, maybe it's time for you to look at this more closely. Yeah. And look at this. And if you have this kind of sense that it's bigger than me, this energy is there, when I become this intensity, it seems like I cannot stop myself. Allow yourself to be there and ask questions about it. What is this? Can I change this? What can I do with this? Yeah. What is this? What can I do with this? Can I change this? Yes. And if so, how can I change it? Just ask question. Or what else is possible with this? What would it take for me to become aware? What triggers this emotional intensity? And sometimes it can be energies in us that are there that can trigger or that can nourish this intensity. Mm-hmm. Okay, let's go with that. So all the emotion, these energies, this living energy that are in you, that nourish this intensity, this emotional intensity, return to from whence it came, and never to return to us, our body, into this reality ever again. Return to from whence it came. And never to return to us, our body, or into this reality ever again. Return to from whence it came, and never to return to us, our body, or into this reality ever again. So may all you leave with your luggage and your electromagnetic and chemical imprinting of all kind, right and wrong, good, bad, pot, puck, all nine shorts, bows and beyonds.
Yes. Yeah, you said, I want to continue with what you're saying. Also, talk about how how that shows up. What is being aggressively present, or the intensity of being that can be similar in description? What does that look like? What does the intensity of being look like? And for me, it's happened numerous times in my life. And one time, we'll use an example. I was in acupuncture school and I was in class, and we were in a class of maybe 25 or 30 students. And at that point, I was in the space of being vulnerable. And Edith, you were talking about being vulnerable before, and I'll touch on that again in a minute. And I was just in this space of like, I didn't have any barriers up. I didn't have any like agenda or anything. It was just like, I was just in this space of just being present, I'll say. And something was brought up in class, and out of my mouth came something that I just continued to talk. It didn't even feel like me at all. I wasn't even thinking about what I was saying. It just came out of my mouth. And this was like the intensity of being, that was what I was saying. It was so, it had so much dynamic energy in it that it just stopped the class still, like dead silent. And they were just like so present with what I was saying. When I became present in where I was living, everyone around me became present. So if you think about that, the more present you are, if you have something that is the intensity of being, and you are that presence, everyone around you will have to shift in some way. And so when I had that conversation, this conversation went on for, I was engaging with 3 or 4 people in the class, and I was kind of like debating something that was said that I knew that wasn't true for me. So I brought it up, and there was just such a presence in this class it was just amazing. I wasn't trying to make a point. I wasn't trying to defend anything. I wasn't trying to make anyone wrong. It was just an awareness that I had, that 2 microseconds before, I didn't have any inkling that I was going to say not one word. It was just like, bam, there it was. And I just had this conversation. And that's the intensity of being. And what I want to say with that is, in this space of vulnerability was where this came from. It's like when I had no barriers up, it's like I was more willing to be in this space to be present. I wasn't trying to create a wall. I wasn't trying to distinguish myself from anyone else. I was just in this space of vulnerability. And like you were saying, Edith, it's just like an open wound. There's a strong sense of intensity with vulnerability, because there's no barriers that protect this vulnerability. There's no barriers that protect you, whatever, like you need protecting, you don't. But there's nothing blocking everything. All the energy comes through. So everything that is around us, we can perceive the intensity of it, of everything. So it's like there's no choosing what it is that you're aware of. It's like you get the intensity of everything. And that's the state of vulnerability. Of true vulnerability is having no barriers and being like the open wound, like Edith said, to receive everything with no point of view. And so that's an idea I wanted to bring up about being vulnerable, and how to get to that space of, in my point of view, about the intensity of being, is by choosing vulnerability. So everywhere that you're not choosing vulnerability as a way to protect yourself, and all of the thoughts, feelings, emotions, and conclusions about what vulnerability is, will you please destroy and uncreate all of that times a gazillion?
Yes, right and wrong in that, what we'll call 9 shorts, bows and beyonds. And last night, I experienced this emotional intensity. Mm-hmm. Yesterday afternoon, something in me was triggered. And I went into this emotional intensity last night. And I was so deep into it and believing that this is who I was. I was ready to move. I was ready to, and to move out of here. And for a certain time until things change. And then I told myself, I asked myself question, okay, is it me who needs to change something here? Or is it something outside of me that requires to change? Well, first, I'm not in allowance of whatever is around me. Maybe there's something here for me that I need to look at. And I talked with Miles about that, and he asked me a question, and this intensity disappeared like... So that was not the being. That was the emotional intensity, and it was something that I was defending, and I wanted to prove something here. So if you are in that space of desiring to prove or to defend something, you're probably in an emotional intensity. When we are in this intensity of being, we know. We know, and we don't have to prove, and we don't have to defend anything. And in this intensity of being, when we allow ourselves to be this intensity of being, you talk about this aggressive presence. It's not about being aggressive. It's not about that. But it's the quality of the present that is there, that nothing will take you out of this. So you stay present no matter what is outside of you. So that's my way of expressing this presence. And when we allow ourselves to be this presence, we have access to awarenesses that we won't if we're not present in that level of presence. So there are many gifts to choose to be this intensity of being. We have access to, as I said, a level of consciousness, a level of awareness. Things come to us like so much more easily. And today I experienced something like I'm going this weekend to Italy for a weekend for a class of 2 days. It's so, in this reality, it seems so stupid, it seems so strange, it seems so weird. But for me, I am so excited. There is something for me, like, if I choose this for me, wow. And the vibrancy that I am in since I chose something that brings me out of my world where I function from. And before I made the decision, I talked with Mal about it, and I guess I needed someone to listen out loud what I had to say and to validate me too. Okay, is it okay what I'm doing? Because it's so strange. In my world, in my universe, it's not something that I did before. And then I asked myself these questions. Well, would I be punished if I do this? It's the thing is, it's so different. It really comes out. And that's the thing with the intensity of being. If you allow yourself to choose something that really makes you vibrate, wake up or open up your vibrancy, it's possible that it could be something totally different that you never did before, that you didn't see so much in your life, that doesn't exist so much in this reality. Hey, what if it's you? What if it's you? What if you allow yourself this for you? And by allowing this into my life, the contribution to this is like, wow, I receive it now. And I know that to live it will be another experience as well. And it's like, wow, it's so amazing when we allow ourselves. By allowing me to do this, I allow myself to be more vibrant. I allow myself to be more who I truly be. So, what is it? What order? Did we talk about order?
We didn't talk about it so much.
No. So what order are you infusing So what is it in your life that you keep in place again and again and again, and you continue to feed that? Mm-hmm. That doesn't allow you to choose the intensity of being that you truly be. And everything that is will you know uncreate and destroy at all times a godzillion.
Yes, right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pocket, all nice shorts, boys and beyonds. I just want to go back just for a second and just like reiterate what you were saying about when you had this intensity last night of what you were, you were in this emotional intensity about it. And at the same time, there was an awareness that was just with that, so it's like you had that intensity, that energy of awareness was there. It's just that we tend to put an emotion on it and try to make it wrong or whatever. So you discovered something about yourself, and that the intensity in which that energy was there, imagine what you can do with that to create your life. And that was one of the magical things about it, was we have this intensity that is so strong, and we run it through our filter of emotion and make it wrong. What if we can just bypass the emotional part and have that intensity of whatever that is and create our life from a space of joy and ease and fun and abundance and expansion, and just always continuing to create more and more and more, and not get stuck in the emotion and not make ourselves wrong for being in the emotion. Just for now, using that emotion as a marker, as a telltale sign that, okay, there's something here for me. What is the awareness that's behind this emotion? Because we tend to put emotion there to suppress the intensity, to make the intensity wrong, to whatever else, to make ourselves wrong about it. And what if it's just the intensity of awareness that we're not choosing to have? And if we choose to have that awareness, would it be so crazy, strong energy the way it's expressed? Probably not. It'll be more fun, more vibrant. It'd be something completely different. So again, everywhere that we're using the intensity of emotion to mask the intensity of awareness that we could be choosing, we destroy and uncreate all of that times godzillion.
Mm-hmm. Right and wrong, good, bad, pop, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. And if you're not sure about it, just ask the question, okay, is it is it an emotional intensity here?
Right.
And if it's light, yeah, maybe it's an emotional intensity. Or if it's heavy.
Yeah, or ask what's the awareness here that I'm not aware of?
Yeah, that could be another question as well. Mm-hmm. So yeah, and what would it take for me? Am I intensely being, how can I say that? Am I really in
the intensity of being?
Yeah, am I in the intensity of being who I truly be right now? Mm-hmm. And do I try to include emotion to this?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so, and see if there's a likeness. That's probably the case. This is what you're doing. So, enjoy. Yeah. Enjoy exploring the intensity that you truly be. And if you desire this in your life, this intensity of being, to be alive, to have this energy that is like a volcano in you, because this is how I was this week. And it's uncomfortable until
and look where she's going lately now.
Yeah, I'm going. Yeah, I wonder, was it the energy preparing for today?
I wonder.
Yeah.
Who can say?
So thank you, everyone.
Thank you for joining us.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening, and please give us a honk of support by subscribing, commenting, and sharing the show with your friends. Or, if you didn't like the show, please share it with your enemies.
See you next time. See you next week. Take care.
Bye-bye, everyone.